I think we should be ready to start. Allow me to begin with taking us through our housekeeping slides, or the rules that we shall follow. Quickly, in case you have any IT related issues, we request that you chat the ECHO IT team. They will be able to help. But we also request that you rename yourself, give us your name and the organization or university you're coming from in the chat room, and that will be great. We also request that you share your questions or comments in the chat room. We are going to respond to them as we move along. So if you can keep on your video, that would be okay. That is if your bandwidth allows, but if not, it is okay to keep it off. But we also request that you keep all your microphones muted at all times unless you're speaking. So just to remind us that this session is being recorded, and usually the recordings are shared later on. So, and by the fact that you have attended this, we take it that you have consented to this recording. We are also going to share the link, the recording and the slides on Slack, on email, but also on our WhatsApp group. We have a survey, which I think will be shared later on. And if you're interested in taking a certificate of attendance, we request you to take that survey. It is very important because it gives us feedback and how we can improve the subsequent sessions. We have an attendance sheet that is going to be shared in the chat room by some of our colleagues, both in English and French. So kindly register. So we also have French interpretation. In case you want to switch to French, you can go to the icon here, as you can see on the screen, the globe icon, and you'll be able to switch to French. So thank you. Those are our housekeeping slides. Okay. Once again, you are very, very welcome. Today, we are going to have an interesting session, very hands-on. And at this point, I want to request each one of us that has not attended these sessions or has not introduced themselves verbally to open your microphone and introduce yourself. The rest of the team members have been introducing themselves. So if you have introduced yourself before, that's okay. But if you have not, open your microphone in less than a minute. Tell us who you are and where you're coming from, and that would be great. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. This is Andrew Baguma, Kabale University. Thank you, and over to you.
You're welcome, Andrew. Next.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Alex Mesuga, Kabale University.
Thanks, Alex. Next.
Peter Mwangi, University of Embu.
Welcome, Peter. Next.
Good evening, everyone. This is Nakwa Susan, Makere University.
You're welcome, Susan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next. Any other person?
Good evening, everyone. This is Bekunda Brian, Makere University.
You're welcome, Brian. Thanks for joining. Next person. Next person. Okay, so the rest of the people will introduce in the chat room. At this point, allow me to invite Richard to quickly take us through the agenda, but also introduce the topic, and then we start. Thank you. Over to you, Richard.
Yeah, thank you so much, Christine. Colleagues, I welcome you to our 8th virtual community of practice for AFROHUN. Today, we have a brief agenda, we have had some introductions from you colleagues. We're going to have a case study presentation. I'm going to introduce the case study presenter. Then we shall have a didactic presentation from the subject matter expert, whom I'll also introduce. We'll have a question and answer session, then some announcements, and a wrap up. Today, we're going to look at discussion forums. As you all know, discussion forums are the key in e-learning. Once learners cannot communicate with each other, then it will be difficult for you to know that they have learned, and it will be hard for them to learn. Just like in a classroom, physical classroom, where you have a moment where you allow learners to exchange ideas. In the same way, online discussion forums give that avenue for learners to be able to discuss. And today we're going to look at the discussion forums, what challenges we can have, and how we overcome the challenges, and even what different variations can come as we look at discussion forums. And so our topic for the day is making the best of discussion forums for effective online learning. And we are graced by our case study presenter, Ms. Irene Mutuku. She's a medical microbiologist, lecturer, and e-learning champion from the Department of Microbiology and Immunology, Kabale School of Medicine, Kabale University here in Uganda. She's going to lay the foundation of our discussion today by presenting and introducing the subject of discussion forums. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen briefly and allow Irene to introduce herself to our audience, and then later she'll present the case. So Irene, welcome.
Thank you very much, Richard, for that elaborate introduction. My name is Irene Mutuku. I'm a medical microbiologist, as we've heard. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to the community members, and greetings from Kabale University. I'm very glad to be a participant in the 8th ECHO Regional e-learning virtual community of practice. And thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Irene. So I think you can begin a presentation. If you don't mind, I can share the slides here, and you probably will prompt me to continue scrolling at the opportune moment. So Irene, over to you.
Thank you very much, Richard. We've already done the introduction, and I'll kindly display the next slide. So a bit of background of Kabale University, which we would like to say is in the western region of Uganda and what we call the Switzerland of East Africa. It was chartered in 2015 and became a fully fledged public university in 2015. The university has fully embraced e-learning, especially after the onset of the pandemic, and this is purposely to ensure that there is continuity in learning. And a lot of resources have been heavily poured into ensuring that the staff, the students, and other key stakeholders are conversant with the e-learning management system. And this includes earlier on from the needs analysis all the way to ensuring that the rolling out of the e-learning platform is successful. Kindly, the next slide, please. So where are we at as a university? Before I get into the actual case study. So basically the pedagogical approach that we are using as a university is the blended learning, and this employs both the synchronous and asynchronous methods. There is a technical support team that deals with issues pertaining to e-learning for both lecturers and students. And the training of lecturers and students is an ever ongoing process to ensure sustainable transition from face-to-face learning to online learning is achieved. All the 9 faculties have Zoom licenses, and these are supplemented with the Google Meet and the Big Blue Button apps that allow for the synchronous kind of interaction. So discussions for forums are, as Richard has said, are a very important platform that allow for an active learning avenue, and they address learning breakdowns, and they are also used to reduce the transactional distances between the instructor and students. However, as we are using these discussion forums, there are challenges that arise from the discussion forums. And just to mention a few, I'm sure the community will add on to this, hopefully, in regards to their experiences. Sometimes there's little or no opportunity for interaction, and this may be because of a lack of understanding of the discussion forum, leading to poor traffic or no use at all, especially for the learners who are key stakeholders. Some learners have views which they would want to express, but because of a lack of an effective forum, they may end up not expressing their views at all. A major problem is copying and pasting by other learners, especially, of course, in the forum. And this can demoralize the learners, as essentially the discussion forums are supposed to be platforms for sharing ideas. Ensuring that students are handing their comments at the right time within the right topic and not way after the topic of discussion have passed on is also a challenge. And as we have seen with the online education, the classes are becoming larger and larger. So effectively managing a large online discussion forum with the proper tools can also be a challenge. So the challenges are there, and there is a need to address these challenges. Otherwise, they can kill the momentum for online discussion forums. So our question that I pose to the community today is, how can discussion forums be best utilized for effective online learning? Again, I iterate, how can discussion forums be best utilized for effective online learning? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Irene, for that very, very, very interesting case. Indeed, sometimes learners copy what they call Xerox from what others have discussed, especially those who don't have time. Copy and paste and probably edit a little. How can we enhance those original discussions from our learners? Is there a way training forums can be designed to do that? Maybe briefly, I can open up for just about a minute or two to the audience if someone has a comment or someone seeks clarity on the case. Maybe you want our case study presenter to clarify something, please, now is the time. Or if you want to make a contribution to that case, please, you can go ahead. These few minutes are for us as the audience to try and probably seek clarity or affirm or add some questions to this case so that our subject matter expert addresses them, the issues that you have noticed with discussion forums that can add what Irene has noticed, because you are experts who are using probably the Moodle platform or other platforms. Have you discovered anything that you think the subject matter can address? Do you have maybe some kind of word you can tell our expert, or rather our case study presenter? So over to you. You can unmute the microphone and say something if you would wish to either seek clarity on the case or contribute something to the case as a solution, or to even expound on what Irene has presented. That one's open to the audience, but as you are still probably contemplating on what to add, I can call our subject matter expert to have a say about this case, to try and validate it. And I'll introduce him. Our subject matter expert is none other than Mr. Joseph Watuleke. He is a certified blended and online learning trainer and academic developer. He's a lecturer in the Department of Adult and Community Education, School of Distance and Lifelong Learning, in the College of Education and External Studies, Makerere University, Uganda. Mr. Joseph Watuleke has vast experience in using e-learning or learning management systems ranging from Moodle to Claroline to Canvas, and very many others. And he has specifically worked with discussion forums extensively, including using them as assessment avenues for both formative and summative assessment. So he is one of the experts in this area and is the right choice for this task. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen, and I invite Mr. Joseph Wateleke to come in and validate their case, and then we can see the next program. So Joseph, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Richard and Irene, the case presenter, for an interesting case, and especially the question that you raised on how discussion forums can be used effectively. I want to agree with you that discussion forums have still remained a big challenge to many e-learning practitioners or community. We have e-learning as a pedagogical approach, but then we have tools for using. And many times, people who have found challenges using discussion forums have chosen to use other methods which have demotivated the learners. So I want to agree with you that finding effective methods of using discussion forums will improve and motivate the facilitators and the learners in using e-learning platforms. And synchronous methods which have been used, like Zoom and Google Meets and all that, yes, they are good for synchronous discussions, but do not extend learning outside the classroom, like the discussion forums could do. And so this evening or afternoon, wherever we are located, we would like to demystify the use of discussion forums and how we can make these very effective in encouraging sharing and interaction among the learners. Because like Richard, you have said, discussion forums are very central in e-learning, and the learners and the facilitators knowing how to use them effectively will make e-learning attractive and actually achieve the goal for using it as a pedagogy. Yeah, thank you. Over to you, Richard.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joseph, for that. And I see that Elaine has commented that for a forum to be effective, small groups of about 12 students must be formed. The group must designate a moderator, and the work and the instructions, or the work instructions, must be clear. Yeah, the group size, 12 according to Elaine, and also the instructions must be clear. You must give instructions that trigger a discussion, not just a plain question. And Penina says that outside the classroom, learners are able to discuss social issues on WhatsApp easily. How can that be transferred to Moodle discussion forums? So Joseph, in your presentation, maybe you will also have to tell us, the community, where social discussions can come in, those that are not necessarily related to the subject matter. Where can they come in the issue in discussion forums and in a course? Probably where do you place such discussions? Yeah, the comments, I've seen those two comments that have come in right now. Joseph will consider that second one, the question, and then this is the suggestion of groups of about 12 students. I don't know whether someone has a question, rather a comment.
Yes, there is no comment.
Yes, please. Please. Okay, all right, so if we don't have any, okay, yeah, Tionesti says that if there is any strategy to identify text matching within the learners, or if it is possible to integrate forums for anti-plagiarism checkers. Otherwise, it will remain a big problem by Tionesti from Rwanda. Okay, so Joseph, as you speak, maybe you can, or if someone in the community has heard of plagiarism checkers for discussion forums in online learning, the LMS, you can give us some suggestions or ideas or what you have seen. Otherwise, Joseph, you could also comment on that, that as you present to us, because we're eager to learn from you. Otherwise, if there's also another member of the community who has seen this approach, they can also tell us that maybe they have seen plagiarism checks being integrated in learning management systems. Yes, any other comment before we?
Yes, Richard, Christine here.
Yes,
Another
Christine.
participant says that problems may arise when personalities clash or if group members start to argue with or speak over on top of each other. It's a comment, probably the subject matter expert can speak to it. Thank you.
Okay. So Joseph, there's an issue. Personality clashes. Some of us communicate differently. We have different communication styles. Some of us, English is a foreign language. I may type something which I think is polite, but it may not be actually polite. So what would happen if such conflicts also arise in the e-learning environment? Thank you so much, Christine, for that. Okay, so I think right about now, let me invite our subject matter expert to take us through the didactic session of how to handle and manage discussion forums. So Joseph, I think you can now take over and talk to us about discussion forums. We do the practicals, and also you can chip in occasionally and respond to those issues that the community has raised. So over to you, Joseph.
Thank you, Richard. I will request you to share the screen for me.
Okay.
Yeah. These members have raised very interesting concerns, which actually many people using e-learning forums have also talked about, and we will see how, from experience, how some of these can be addressed, and members can also share ideas how they're addressing them in their different institutions. But I've already been introduced, so I will not spend time on introducing myself, and I will go straight to sharing the content for our session, because we would like to make this as practical as possible. The content will be brief, and we want to just understand what a discussion forum is and how it is used, and then the different types of discussion forums, and then we will do some hands-on. And I'm hoping that many of us have access to some LMS at your different universities, or at least the one for the virtual community. And then we will have some final tips on how we can make these discussions effective. Richard, we move on. We would want to start looking at a discussion by understanding what a discussion forum is. I would have asked you to share your views, but I will continue, but I still encourage you, if you have a different definition, please share it in the chat. How would you define a discussion forum? Using simple words for other members to understand, such that we go in something we understand better. You can use a chat and then share your views, which are might be different from what I have shared here. So Warwick, the University of Warwick puts it in detail that it's a popular online communication medium which allows users to exchange asynchronous conversations with course leaders or teachers and peers within the security of Moodle course. Okay, I want to highlight key words here: exchange of asynchronous conversations. I would take exchange as a key word, and not just any communication, but asynchronous, okay? Meaning there is flexibility in time and space in sharing these views, but also replies to the different activities, okay, is another key issue there. When we use discussion forums, we expect students to reply, to comment on each other's communications such that there is interaction. Replies can be in form of critique, in the form of agreement, in the form of complimenting or debating on what others have shared. So we will see how do we enable students to reply to each other. Discussion forums offer a lot of affordances. And this goes beyond discussion activities, but also students sharing their experiences, like we have already seen in the definition, by commenting on what the facilitator has posted and what others have posted. They can share files. Students have vast access to different resources, which some may actually be outside what the facilitator has given. And when we share discussion forums with them, they can use these to bring those materials to share with others. And sometimes they also beef up the course content for the facilitator. But we can also use it for grading, participation. We engage students in many activities, and we cannot wait for only summative assessment to give them the final grade. We also see how they are progressing with learning, to peer assessment and rating each other if the permission is granted by the instructor through the settings, as well as enhancing collaboration and cooperation among students. So there are quite many affordances, but I am able to list these, and you are free to share with us what you also think is to use of discussion forums. The key issue here is knowing which type of discussion forum you want to use at what time. Okay, there are, when you go to Moodle, you'll find 4 major discussion forum types, and each offers a different affordancy, or 4 to 1. You will always find, as a designer or the instructor, when you're creating a discussion forum, is the standard, and it is now you to change if you don't want that particular one. The default forum enables the instructor to create an activity, and then it will also allow students to start a new discussion topic. Okay, so they will see the instructor's question or task, and then below it, there is a room for the student to start a new discussion topic or thread, and anyone else can create a new discussion. But when we look at the simple discussion forum, this one will allow the teacher to post a question or a point for discussion, and the students are only able to reply. They cannot start a new discussion topic. Students will only reply to what the facilitator has shared. And this is useful if you want the students to be focused on the topic without scattering around and bringing in new themes and new threads. Okay, so they only reply to what you have shared. Then we have what we call the question and answer forum. Of students copying from each other before they post. The question and answer forum will allow the students to first post their own answers before they can see the response from others. So if the instructor is interested in soliciting views from the students in answering a particular question without them seeing what others have shared first, you can use a question and answer forum. We're going to see how this is created. The same way you create a single chat, the same way you can create this. That's a matter of switching the forum. And the fourth one is called the standard forum, displayed in a similar to the first one, standard forum. They're both standard forums, but the difference is how they display. The standard forum, displayed in a blog-like format, will use the same strategy, like the post the discussion topic, and the students will have the room for creating a new discussion topic, but it displays as a blog. You cannot see the replies to what the student has posted or people have posted on the student's thread. When you want to reply to the thread or the blog from another student, You will have to access it and then select discuss this topic. When you click discuss this topic, it will now give you room for reply. On the standard forum, the reply will be automatic. You will see the reply button below. But for the blog, like, you have to first click discuss this topic before you can see the reply. That is where people get challenges. Now I can't see a reply. You will know that you have to discuss the topic. Yeah, we move on, Richard. So for the practical session, I'm going to ask, especially the facilitators. We may be having students on this for community who have no access to teacher rights on courses, but for those that have access to courses and they have the right as teachers, I'm going to ask you to prepare for some practical activity, and maybe one or two people may be given a chance to share with us what they have created. We are going to start with the steps of creating a forum discussion. And the others will be based on number one, the activity, the posting, the replying, the discussion logging, the displaying, the posting of images will all be based on how well we have designed the first stage. I would like to know if there is any question to this point so far. Otherwise, yes, please.
Yeah, Penina is saying that subject discussions seem vibrant on WhatsApp, but when she transfers to Moodle discussion forums, it seems to die out. What is happening? What happens? Why should people be so vibrant when using WhatsApp? And when it comes to the discussion forums here, even if it's the same subject that's being discussed, but learners seem to be so active on WhatsApp, but inside the discussion forums on the LMS or in Moodle, they seem to die out. Then we have Nelson, who says that it's better to attach value to a discussion session or activity for lecturers to focus and be active in the discussion forums. For instance, marks should be attached to each and every activity of a discussion forum. Without that, lecturers may regard online discussion forums irrelevant to physical learning. This is psychological, and it is possible in any context of learning. I think he's trying to also respond to Penina's issue, why they die out, that maybe we can attach some kind of mark when it comes to the discussions in the forum. Yes, Joseph?
Yes, I agree. I agree with the Nelson. You find that WhatsApp is easy because it requires no logging in, and students are always using these social media tools for other social interactions. And so unless we attach a grade to the forum, and the students know that when I participate in a discussion forum, I have a grade attached to it. You know, every activity has a point that is awarded. That is what is going to motivate the students to go in. Otherwise, they'll find using social media as the best option because it's easy. You don't have to log in, you don't have to remember your password and all that. And students will also use WhatsApp for other social activities besides the academics. But this is difficult for the university or the quality assurance to track quality of teaching and learning. So if we continue using social media like WhatsApp, how will the university track the progress of our teaching and learning? Okay, so universities use learning management systems to know that actually learning is taking place and teaching is taking place. So we can encourage students, while they can use WhatsApp for quick communications, reminding themselves that there is a discussion activity going on, we need to emphasize the use of the official learning management systems. And if there is any tool that is used outside the learning management system, we can provide a link within the discussion. Like I normally use in my teaching, I use Padlets, I use Mentimeters, but I ensure that I have linked it to the discussion forum or to the lesson page. So for the students to access the link to another tool outside the discussion, they will have to first go through the discussion. And Another member raised it. Yes, please. Yes, Richard.
I think the question is as you do the practical. I'm not this issue
Yeah.
you can't do. But now we should transition to the practical. Then as you do the practical, I know these issues are going to come back and somewhere you will comment about them.
Okay. Thank you, Richard.
You for the practical session.
Yeah. Thank you. Now we would like to switch the practical session in the interest of time, and I'm going to share my screen for us to start out on the discussion, how to create discussion forums and how to use them. I'm having a clean page, and I will start by showing us how do we log in. The most important thing is knowing the URL for your university learning management system or virtual learning environment. And for now, I'm going to use the AFROHUN learning management system, and I will type in my address. Okay. When you have got access to your learning management system, it is important to remember your username and password. This is a big problem to many users. They keep forgetting their usernames and password. And sometimes we keep saving on our computer. So when we change to another computer, you forget. So it's good to cram. Use usernames and passwords you can easily remember. Like now, I am using my name, J. Watuleke, as my username to this LMS, and I'm going to put in my password. So if any of us has access to our learning management systems, please log in, and we do hands-on as we move on. I will be happy if I can have a member show us what they have done. Okay, so when you have accessed your learning management system, they are go through to create discussion forums. And I'm going to take you step by step into doing Moodle space and turn editing on. Because when you are in your course, like my your course, you cannot edit or create a discussion in any course which you have no rights to. So if you know you are teaching this course, like mine course is a demo course, I'll go to my Moodle editing tool and I turn editing on. Okay, this can only be done by the teachers or the instruction designers with the rights to edit courses, not students. So you will turn your editing on, and as soon as you have done that, the course will be in editing mode. Okay, and you can see that everywhere will be editable. So you need to know where you're going to create your discussion forum. Discussion forums are usually is good to create them under a lesson, or you have a section for discussion forums responding to different lessons. So if I want to engage students in Unit 1, which is Introduction to Agriculture and Agricultural Development, and I am assuming the lesson has been developed, it's now time to add a discussion forum. I will go to this section called Add an Activity or Resource. Okay, discussions are found in Activities, and the folder called Activity or Resource will present us with a discussion forum. So you will select this tool called a forum. Okay, sometimes when you open, depending on how it is displaying, maybe due to many tools opening, your screen may not show well and the forum is not displaying, you can try to filter by going to only activities, because here it is displaying activities and resources. If you can't see well, you can filter activities and then it will display only those which fall under activities, and discussion forum is available here. It has filtered out other tools. So select discussion forum. The next step is to name your discussion. It is important that you give your discussion a good title, not just calling it discussion one. For reference purposes and for students to know what they're going to do, name the discussion well. If you call it discussion one, students won't understand well. But if you call it, for example, discussion, debate on investment in agriculture, assuming this is the forum I'm going to engage the students in, I want them to, in the discussion, they're going to debate the investment in agriculture, how it is done. So I will just name it that way. So students will always, from the title, reflect on the topic of discussion. And from there, we provide a description. What is the discussion about? It's good to have your description written in your and if you are having your course open, please do the same. I have my description here, and the title is saying discussion, debate on investment in agriculture. And I have my discussion topic. There is a growing debate that agriculture has failed to uplift most of the African economies from poverty, and that the discussion of financing agriculture development should shift to focus on industrialization and service provision. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? Support your view forum by clicking on the reply button below. Return to the discussion forum later and comment on at least 3 of your peers. Submit your responses by Friday 25th of February 2021. Why have I shared this? I want us to look at the nature of activities that we present in a discussion forum. If we present an activity which requires a yes or no answer, there will be no interaction. But we need to bring in topics which stimulate discussion, which propagate interaction and sharing ideas. So if I ask the students whether they agree or disagree with the statement and ask them to support with the relevant examples, I am soliciting for a debate. There will be different opinions. And I must also specify that they should also discuss others' comments. They should return and comment on others. I'm also specifying the deadlines for the discussion, such that the students know that this activity is not open forever. It has a timeline. So how do we proceed? This discussion is now, by default, a standard forum for general use, and we have already seen what it is like. I may want to change, and maybe I want students to only see the discussion of others when they have posted theirs. This is where you change from. Yes, Richard. Okay.
Find out whether there's anyone managed to create a discussion forum or even log into the platform so that you know whether there are some people who are doing some practical work. If nobody is doing practicals, then we can even be faster. If someone is trying out these things, then we can be a little bit slow. But colleagues, if you have managed to, whether on your learning management system in your university or on the AFROHUN forum, you type 1 in the chat so that we can know that you are doing this. You can type 1 in the chat if you have been able to create a discussion forum. Okay, someone has logged in as a student, so that one cannot cannot create a forum. Okay. Otherwise, do we have anyone who is doing this with Joseph? You can type 1 in the chat if you are doing this with Joseph right now, that you're also trying it out there, so that we can know that someone else is also working then we can keep pausing. So
We are
Joseph,
Yeah.
yes, Christine?
Richard, we are happy to share the login details for those that may have forgotten. Just chat any of us. And those that may need new ones still, you can chat us and we'll create quickly.
Okay. So please, you can send us your details, names, and your email address. You can put in the chat, or you can send a private message to Akanya, Rose, or to me, or to Christine, and then we create for you login details, your names and your email address. That one, I think, and the name, the course code and course name that you want us to create for you on the AFROHUN Moodle platform. Otherwise, if there's anyone who is working with us, please, you can type one in the chat, then we know that someone is working. For the French, for our French audience, French is available. Joseph, can you put your pointer up there after the vCOP bracket, after the vCOP bracket, up. Yeah. Yes, go to the right. Yeah, there's a small drop down. Yes. So for those of you who are French, just click on it. Yeah, for the French audience, you can just click on French. This whole platform will, Joseph, don't click on it. This whole platform will display in French for the French audience. And then for the English, where Joseph is, it will be in English. Joseph, don't first click on the French because and it's a good
to go back in English. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So Joseph, there does not seem to be anybody who is, I think, working this along with you. Or if they are, then they are fast. But you can proceed. You can go on. Maybe I'll interrupt you later. You have about 30 more minutes to. You have up to about a quarter past 6.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Thank you. So that's okay. So we were seeing we're on step 3. We have created a discussion. We have named it. We have given a discussion description, and now we're selecting a discussion type, and we choose which discussion you want to display. Like I said, the default is always standard forum for general use, whereas each student can post a discussion by starting a new topic. If that's not your interest, and maybe you want students to reply on your topic, you can choose to go for a simple discussion. And let me select the standard forum first for now. And availability, sometimes we create courses and design all this when we are not for a semester to come. So you may want to set the date when this forum can be available. Okay, you don't want to do it manually when the semester starts. If you know when the semester is going to start, you can enable the date. For example, I can say this forum should start today because I'm using it for this activity. Otherwise, if I was going to use this discussion in the next month, I can change. I say it is available from 23rd of March. Okay, and that means students cannot access it before the due date. And if you want the discussion to close, you can cut it off. So after a particular date, the discussion can close. Okay, if you want that. But usually these are not key issues for many instructors, but they can also be important for controlling discussions. You can move on to subscription if you want, but these are optional tools. But the most important is tracking discussion. We need to give deadlines at times for students to be serious, especially if we are awarding grades to these discussions. Some students will always come in late and they will find the discussion open. So even when students are on another unit, for them, they're still discussing an old discussion. You can give a deadline. You say maybe when a discussion is closed and is idle, okay, or maybe after 1 week, I will close, okay? That is called a period of inactivity. Students have finished discussing, and after 1 week, they close, the forum can close, and those who come in late cannot find it open. They'll have to consult you to give reasons why they couldn't post within time, okay? Then, if you are going to grade, we shall change the settings from here. How do you want to grade? Okay, we will, time cannot allow us to discuss the grading, but you can use either the scale or the point, and the point will tell us how much are you giving that discussion. Is it out of 10, 100, or 5% of the activity, and how you are grading, whether you're using the simple direct or you're going to use a marking guide or a rubric. All these needs time to discuss the grading of discussions. But the most important thing is to now create a discussion for the students to engage. So if I want this discussion to be a group activity, and I have students in groups, I will come to the common module setting before even I post the discussion. But to create the discussions, you must already have students enrolled and the groups created. So if I go to common module settings, I can say this is a group activity or not. And if I choose a group activity, there's what we call separate groups or visible groups. For now, I am going to leave it to no groups, and I will first post this. I will save and display and see how my discussion is looking like. Okay. And now I will go back to my unit 1 topic and see how my discussion is looking. So I have created a discussion forum under unit 1, and the discussion forum is called Debate on the Investment in Agriculture. If I turn my editing off, I use the normal view, it will look like this. And if I open, I must be able to see the description of the activity. Okay, the students will see what they are supposed to engage in, and the students are provided room to add a new discussion topic because I selected a standard forum for general use. So type a new discussion topic and they start the discussion. Okay, so since there are no people who are enrolled to this course, I want to switch my role and go in as a student to see how students are going to view this topic. Okay, and to change your view, you always come here, because you can always change and see how the students are going to view. You go to your account up here and you click switch role. Okay, and different roles are going to display, and now you want to view it as a student. Okay, this will take away temporarily your teacher rights, and you will view the course as a student. Now I am in as a student, and I want to see how students are going to see the discussion. When I click as a student, I will still see the discussion topic, and I'm going to see add a new discussion topic. So I will click here, and then maybe I will say my take. And now I am discussing as a student. I will begin with my title, my take on the debate. Okay, and okay, I will assume I have answered my debate, and this is my response. Okay, assuming this is my response to the debate, there is room for posting a discussion. Okay, after you have written, you post, and this is how students are going to engage. Now, when a student has posted, it is going to display as a discussion thread. And when you, as a facilitator or other students open, they are able to see the reply button to reply to this student thread, because it is a general forum. And so they can reply by adding their comments here, and they post to the forum. Okay. This is a discussion under general. And you can see that now the reply falls under the original. It makes a thread. If another person replies to this one, it's going to fall down like this and then makes a thread. I will return to my normal role. If I have finished testing as a student, I can go back to my account and return to my normal role as a teacher. Okay. Yeah. Now I want to test out another forum, which is not forum, but now I want for students to only be able to post after, be able to view others after posting theirs. I will turn my editing on again, and it will enable me to edit. I will follow the same procedure. I'm going to repeat this so that we remember the steps. I'll come here to add activity or resource, and I want to see. Okay, I want to select the discussion forum, which is our subject for today. Then still, I'm going to use the same name. Okay, discussion. I'm calling it debate on the investment in agriculture. And I have my description, which is similar to the previous. Okay, I want to use the same example to create another. Okay, and change the type from here. Default standard. Now I want it to be a question and answer, for example. Okay, and the settings not tampered with. I just want to move straight to creating a discussion, which is Q&A, and I will save and display. Okay, it's not a long process. You may think because I touched here and there, it looks a tough process, but it is not. You can just go straight, create name, and then change, select the type, and you are good to go. Okay. So when I go in as a student, I will switch the role to a student. The challenge now is that I am in this course alone and I can't see replies from others. We would really see how, sorry. My screen has accidentally stopped sharing. I will quickly go back. We'll quickly go back to it. So if some of you have requested for access rights to this LMS, we could you could locate for this course and try to go in and try to make some replies to this discussion that I've just created. Okay. My forum, my screen just closed, but I will quickly go back to where I have been. Okay, so if you manage to access, join this course as a student, and see these discussions. Okay. I can see many courses have now been created, and that's good. People can now start out on their courses. You can interrupt me if you missed a step, and I can take you in. So I was creating a new discussion here. I had created it as a question and answer, and I was switching to a student role to see how the students can view. Okay, student. Okay. So now when a student enters this kind of forum, they will see the question, but then there is also a caution here. For example, it says this is a question and answer forum. In order to see other responses to these questions, you must first post your answer. This is an automatic response that the system will create and inform the student. So the student has to first present their own responses, okay, before they can see the answers to this, what others have said, okay. And so there are no questions yet, and I will move on to create a question, okay. Let me switch my role back as a teacher, and I will add a question here, and I will say your responses, and I will say respond to the task in the description above using this forum. Okay, so I don't want to repeat the question. If I've not posted the question here in the description, I can post it in this section, and then I will post. So for the students to see the replies to this question, they will have to first respond with their own answers by replying to this before they can see for others. Now, in the interest of time, I want to run to grouping. Richard, are we good?
We're okay. At least we have some 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay. Abraham can't enroll to this demo course, so can someone who is administrator help him to enroll to the demo course he wants to try out? So now I want to try out on groupings, okay? Let me check and see if I have any participants in the group. I have only myself and Godfrey Mayende. So when you yes, please.
You can activate self-enrollment.
Okay.
Whether it's possible to activate self-enrollment.
Okay. And as I do that, I'm also going to show members how we can do that, such that you can help your students enroll to the course. If our course still is a demo course, we will go to participants. This is where we enroll participants from. So you can click on participants. And there is this section for enroll users. If you want to enroll them manually one by one, you'll click on enroll users. Otherwise, you will use this setting wheel, and then you come to enrollment methods. Okay, this is a wheel for setting, and then you'll select enrollment methods. Okay, and then you will activate self-enrollment. This one, okay, the last one, it's called self-enrollment. You will change it from the settings here. This is in your course. Now, assuming this is your course, I am not putting a password. I just want to leave it open. But if you want to put a password, you will select it from here. Put a password by typing in and put a password for enrollment. Then you what we call enrollment key, and you share that with your students. For now, I am activating it and leaving it open such that anyone who wants to enter this course can enroll in. Okay. Let me know if it is working or active. Okay. Let me enable it with the date. Okay. So how do we enroll participants? I've said the same. Just go to participants. If you have any whom you want to enroll, then click on enroll users. You will always find many, but you need to have a list of your students you want to enroll, and then search for the name. For example, I want to enroll Richard Kajumbura to this course. I will select Richard Kajumbura, and I give him the student right, for example, by default, and I say enroll users. Okay, so I will have Richard in my course as a student, but he's also, of course, having another right as a course creator. So now I have my students in the course, and I want to create discussion groups for them to discuss in the groups. What do I do in the few minutes I have? I want to show you that. You will go into the participants again, and then you will come to the settings, okay, and then select groups. When you create groups manually, they don't work on the virtual learning environment until you have created them here automatically. Okay, so when you are here for the first time, you will see groups and members, but there is nothing, so you will create a group. Okay, for example, when you create a group, you give it a group name. You either give it a number. Now, there is automatic group development, or you grouping the students manually. You can choose what you want to do, but I will, for example, name this group Kenya, for example. If I'm naming my groups according to countries, I will call it group Kenya. And if I want to give the map of Kenya as a symbol, I give, otherwise I just leave it like that, and I say save changes. Okay, and now I have created a group, but without members. Okay, now what do? I will have to come here and say add members or remove members, and I am going to select from the list. I'm going to look for Richard. Now you'll search down here on search, and it will bring you the names. Okay, I'm searching for members who are enrolled to my course, and I will type in Richard, for example. I'll find Richard here, and I'll add Richard to this group Kenya. Okay, click add. So the group has one member now called Richard. I will go back to groups and create more groups. If there are many members, I will keep adding more students to this group, and I make maybe 10 to 12, like a member had suggested. Smaller groups are important. I'll create another group and call it Uganda, for example, group Uganda, and I will save it, and then I will enroll the members to that group. Okay. And then I will add a members. It's the same procedure. And I will select from here. I will search for Godfrey. Okay. And I have my student here called Godfrey. I'll add to group Uganda. Okay. Now, if I am done with that, I can go back to my course, and now I want to set up a group activity. Okay, I want this activity, for example, to be group. In the interest of time, I am not going to create a new discussion forum, but I just want to edit this one to be a group activity. you can still change the discussion you have already created if you realize, oh, I wanted it to be a group activity, but I forgot. So you can still change the settings. You can come to a discussion and then go to the settings here and say edit settings. Otherwise, you could set it up when you are creating a discussion. So when I edit settings, I will come to common module settings. Okay, let me check in the charts. Okay. Okay, so common module settings, I will say this is group, and I'm going to say separate groups. Separate groups will enable students to only view their discussion forums. If you say visible groups, they can see groups of others, but they can only reply to their groups. They cannot reply to anything outside their group, but they can view other discussions. If I say separate groups, they can only see and reply to the discussions in their group, and I will display. Okay, now what happens if a student is not assigned a group? They cannot discuss until they get assigned to a group. I will switch my role to a student. Of course, I don't have a group now, and you see how it will display. Okay, I have switched my role as a student, and I want to participate. Okay, you see, because the discussion is already ongoing, and already some replies have been made to the discussion, I can see, but then because I don't belong to this group, I can't even reply, you know, I can't reply. But if I was in this group, I would reply. So now you can see different things, but no reply, you can't. So I will return to my normal role, and on the tasks we were supposed to look at, I want to see how you can view the discussions as an instructor. Okay, you have come to check discussions and you want to moderate. Moderating discussions is very important. Assuming you now have 10 groups and you want to see what each group is doing, you will come into a discussion forum and you will see them displaying here, but you want maybe to moderate group by group. By default, it will be showing you all groups, all participants, but you can select to moderate a particular group by clicking here. And for example, say group Kenya. You want to see what group Kenya is doing, and you select Kenya. It will display for you what group Kenya has done. And for now, it is only what I posted as an administrator, the question. Okay, I posted it as an administrator because I was appearing in every group, but there's no group Kenya. So you can see if nothing is happening, then you can type to them, hello group Kenya, the week is moving, but I can't see anything from your group. Please wake up, let us move. You go to group Uganda, you select and see what group Uganda is doing. You will still see there's no one in group Uganda who has done anything. Okay, you can still write them. If there are any, you reply to them. Moving around groups. Now, someone raised an issue of I have the last slide to share, but someone talked about class on the top of others. When we are, for example, in these discussions, it is very important that at the beginning of the course, they are asked to share the group net. Structure, you can share the netiquettes. Netiquettes are the working, know that they are dealing with other human beings, and therefore they're not dealing with robots. reply to others in a humane and respectful manner. They should agree on the modes of handling conflicts, and also they should be encouraged to first read through their posts, that their posts are clear and they are not going to be misinterpreted before they can post. This is a culture you can build among the students to ensure that when they are discussing, they don't just type anything and post. They should develop a culture of reading, being able to understand that their post is going to be interpreted well by others, and then it will not cause enemies interpretation. Group etiquettes are very important. They can even come up with what we call a group agreement. They set, we start on a task when it's given. What happens if a member doesn't play their role? When do we work on group submissions if they are given? You know, who will be handling what, who will moderate what, you know, they can come up with a group contract, and that will be guiding to them. On the issue of, yes, Richard. Yes, Richard.
I think you have just 1 more minute.
Okay. If I have 1 minute, then I would suggest that you share my screen and I share the remaining part of my slides, the last one. Just some tips for effective use of discussions. You know, if you have chosen to use discussion forums as your method of teaching or facilitating learning, you need to ask yourself these questions and be able to provide positive responses. You could say, do I wish to have involvement in the forum, or I would want the students to lead and own the space? Know when you come in and know when the students. If you want to control the discussions, then the forum will not be the best space for you, but students need to take charge. Do I want the forum to add value to the face-to-face environment or have life of its own? You know, if you want it as a supplementary learning tool to beef up the classroom discussion, then activities are going to be created building on what you taught in class. But if they're standing on their own, then you can create independent activities. You could ask yourself, am I prepared to make appropriate contributions to the discussions? How can you contribute? Encourage discussions. If the students are quiet, you need to go in. That's called e-moderation. Help shape ideas. If students begin to wander off task, you need to read through and see whether students are getting off track, and you come in and shape their discussions. You need to define your role in the discussion or as a coach. You realize the time will reach when you're no longer the teacher, but you're just a moderator or a facilitator, or you're just there to motivate the students as they continue discussions. You also ask yourself, will I explicitly but gradually relinquish control, discussion, and encourage and support learners to share control over discussions? Okay, this should be the attitude of the facilitator using discussion forums. Gradually, after you have built enough scaffolds and you feel your learners can now independently engage in discussions, you can start be there as a viewer and let the students take role, shared responsibilities, who is going to be the, and the discussions go on without your major involvement, but not being absent. Okay, Richard, in the interest of time, allow me stop there, and I can address any questions if time allows.
Thank you so much, Joseph, for that. I thank our subject matter expert. You have indeed tried to handle most of the issues given the time that you had. And if colleagues have any issues, they can probably type them in the chat so that we can maybe register them, and later we can answer them. But I know that the one displayed in blog format, we have not been able to handle, but in our next session, we shall organize a session where we shall handle that other type. Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph Watuleke. Very good discussion. And before I hand back to Christine, I would like to call upon our case study presenter, Irene, Madam Irene Mutuku, to come and just give a comment on the extent to which your case has been responded to. Irene?
Thank you very much, Richard, and Joseph, for that very, very elaborate presentation. I think most of the issues that I raised have been tackled in regards to the challenges that most of the lecturers face when it comes to dealing with discussion forums. And it was very see how you can actually have different groups and different moderations and who introducing different students, them not being able to see what the other people are actually doing, and you being able to comment, putting dates onto them and deadlines. So that was very educative, and I'm very grateful to Joseph for his very elaborate presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Irene Mutuku from Kabale University, Uganda, and Mr. Joseph Watuleke from Makerere University, Uganda. So thank you so much, colleagues. Over to you, Christine.
Oh, sorry, I was speaking, not knowing I was muted. So thank you very much, Joseph and Irene and everyone. We are really happy to have you today. Thank you for actively participating in this very important discussion on discussion forums. We really appreciate you. We shall have our next session the last week of next month, and we are going to communicate this on email, and we shall also communicate it on our WhatsApp. So we are going to share the Zoom recording. You can share it with your colleagues, with your fellow faculty or students, those that want to go back and practice, because usually this is not enough time, but you can always refer back to the recordings. So this recording and the slides will be shared on Slack, on our WhatsApp group, as well as on email. And in case you're not yet part of the WhatsApp group, please inbox me with your WhatsApp number. We shall add you, but also add you to Slack and the rest of the platforms. We have a survey pasted in the chat. Please, we encourage you to take the survey because it helps us to improve the subsequent sessions. So I'm sure Ken has already pasted that survey. And usually after the survey, if you need a certificate, we usually give a certificate of attendance. Please take the survey. We also shared another survey with all of you on email. That is also very important because we want to see how to improve these sessions moving forward. Finally, but very important, in case you would want to be one of our subject matter experts or case presenter or any of these in your university, please inbox us as well, and we shall discuss and see how we can take you on. Otherwise, we are really happy to have had you today. Thank you very much. And unless you have any questions or comments, this is it for today, and we really thank you. In case anybody has a burning question or a comment, this is the time. We still have 2 minutes. You can raise it now, and we have it either discussed or even responded to. Thank you, and thank you very much. Any questions, any quick comments? You can raise it. We still have 3 minutes. Otherwise, colleagues, please take the survey. It is both in English and in French.
Yeah, Christine?
Yes, Richard.
Just one small thing. Elaine is asking that doesn't the type of forum depend on the pedagogy or the subject being handled and the style? Joseph, I know that you can quickly in one sentence answer that.
I think the type of forum will depend on the nature of the question and the responses you're expecting from the students. The pedagogy or the discipline will not matter a lot. The nature of the question is what will determine the kind of forum that you use. Yeah. So any discipline, choose your question appropriately, and any forum may work for you.
Thank you, Joseph. Yes, Maurice, you have another question? Okay. I can see a few comments in the chat. Yes, I have seen your comment, Sunday, we are going to share the recording. Thank you. Any other quick comment or question? We can respond to it now. All right, thank you very much. Any tips for those handling large classes? Question to you, Joseph.
Okay. Like we already said, large classes can be broken down into smaller groups. And already a member in the community shared that it's good to have groups. Having a group of more than 15 members, it is really problematic. But 10 to 12 or 8 is a good enough. If your class is over 200, then you can slightly increase on the number of groups and then manage them in smaller groups. Of course, they'll be participating in the same tasks, but then controlled in their groups for easy management and the effective participation. So it is important that from the start, the students can know how they are going to work. And if the whole, for example, the program, the bachelor's program is running the activities on a Moodle or on a virtual learning environment, it would be good for a program coordinator to liaise with all the course instructors to come up with standard groups such that students put in a particular group are working across the different course units in the same group other than switching. In my course, I have put, for example, Moorish in another group Uganda, and then you go to Richard's course, then another group, so it will disturb them when it comes to bring assignments. While they have an activity here to do, another course is demanding them to do, and they can't agree on how to switch. So if the program coordinators or whoever is in charge of coordinating the course can set up standard groups at the beginning, students know I belong to this group for this semester, and then they are grouped accordingly. That will be helpful. Yeah.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, everyone. This was really good. So I just finally wanted to say that the survey link is going to still be open up to the end of tomorrow. And we are going to paste it on the WhatsApp group, but also you can copy it to your computer or gadget, and you can take the survey up to end of tomorrow, then we shall close it. Thank you, and have a blessed evening and good morning.
Thank you. And the team should stay behind. Christine?
Yes, the planning team, please don't log off. The rest of our community members, thank you. And let's meet our next session next month.
Okay, Kenneth can create a breakout room for that team. Okay, so our the planning team, you can join the breakaway room. It's already available. We are waiting for you. Thank you, everyone. And bye-bye.